Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. At the time of recording, the Rock Lobsters are on a 9-game winning streak before going into another 4-game week. I'm joined by head coach Steve Martinson. And Coach Marty, the level of form that the team is in right now probably feels like what you visualized from the first conversation we ever had. What can you say about the team's ability to find a way to win as of late, especially getting all 3 points in regulation in a lot of these games?
Well, I kind of felt like we could have been there all along, but, things weren't clicking. Maybe I thought we were underperforming a little bit offensively and having defensive mistakes. But part of it, you have a whole new team and a bunch of guys that have never played together. So to be in the spot we're in now, I'm obviously happy with it. And this weekend was frustrating. The power plays ended up, I think it was like 21-4 over the 3 games. And I've never, I'd never been in a series that was like that, but it wasn't a difference in the game because we were able to win the games despite that. But yeah, we're playing much better now. And we've got 3 lines that can score. We got 2 lines that are scoring a lot. And then, Reller kicked in and had a hat trick on the weekend. So getting scoring from the other line is big too.
The weekend you're referring to, we're coming off a sweep of the Dashers Hockey Club, and I think that won't surprise anyone given the historic struggles that they have had as a team this year. But I think the level of fight that they brought did catch some fans off guard. Was that self-inflicted wounds on our part? Did they feel like a different team than what they were earlier this season? What do you think contributed to how competitive that 3-game set was?
Well, I mean, part of it is, it's a lot different players that are there now, and they have a different coach. And so, I think that, obviously they're tired of losing, and they looked at us as an opportunity. They beat us earlier in the year. And, but like I said, it's a lot of different players. And, the game that they lost, I thought, the game that we lost, they had unbelievable goaltending and, extra head of horseshoe, hanging on the net. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really look much at their team. It's more, I thought, we got up to the second game 5-1, and then it was some guys wanted to score more than we wanted to score. And, it was obvious when you watched, we weren't passing the puck, and all of a sudden it became a little bit more about me. And the good thing is they learned a lesson that no matter who you play, you got to use your teammates. And, we were still able to win the game despite, letting them back in the game.
There's been 4 games since me and you last talked. That started with a 6-4 win against the Columbus River Dragons. Carter Shinkarik was really pulling the strings. He logged 5 assists in that game. Can you talk about the unique way that Shinks plays as a blue liner, and does his unique profile as a player make it more easy or more difficult for you to coach him?
Oh, well, I mean, he fits into the style that I like to play. I mean, we like our offense jumping into play and not so much leading the play, but jumping in the play and coming late. And he's a really good skater. He's got a ton of skill. And so, our power play has picked up and we've been moving the puck better. And he obviously, is a big part of that. So he's going to, playing with that group, they're going to get a lot of goals and a lot of points. I mean, all 3 of those guys can score. And, Robbie's kind of our anchor back there. He just stays back and lets everybody else go on offense. So Carter's a good fit for the way we play, and he's doing an outstanding job.
There was a total of 7 power play goals in that game, and your team got 4 of them. But then after that, team was unable to get any goals on the man advantage in the 3 games against the Dashers. Where are you standing with what has felt like a bipolar power play as of late?
Well, in that game, we only had with 3 games without a power play goal, but I think we only had 3 full power plays. So it wasn't like, we were missing one opportunity, and we just didn't we weren't on the power play at all up there. So, I didn't like with our second unit came out to start because the first unit was trying to juggle the lines a little bit more and get everybody ice time up there. But I didn't like some of the decisions that we make. We're shooting and defense are shooting from out of the blue line without enough traffic to the net. So I wasn't in love with everything on that power play, but we kind of caught, going back to Columbus. They like to kill a certain way, and we were kind of take advantage of how they were killing, and we did that last game and need to do that again tonight if they haven't made any adjustments.
The series against Danville, it felt like we saw the emergence of some depth guys who really tried to stake a claim into being looked at as something more. I want to talk about some of them. First, one that comes to mind is the one that you mentioned earlier, Brandon Reller, because he had his first pro hat trick Saturday in Danville. He's contributing at a level that he never has in his career before, even looking back at his numbers in his junior years. What have you wanted to see from Rels since he came into the team, and how has he answered the bell?
Well, he's always had a great shot since he got here. He has a really good wrist shot. So if he gets a lot of shots, he's going to score goals. He's playing more physical, finishing checks more. He wasn't doing a lot of that when he first got here, and it's something that if you haven't been pushed to do that, if you play in styles or systems or teams that they don't finish their checks or they don't care, guys start to get bad habits naturally. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. So some guys will hit their whole career. Some guys, need to learn how to do it. And so he had a lot of good hits this weekend, and he's got to use the points a little bit more, use his teammates a little bit more. But um, he's that big body and he can move, and so he's got a lot of upside. And he's just got to keep working on the little things.
Next man on my list is Kyle Russell. 3 points in those 3 games in Danville, including his first goal as a Rock Lobster. It feels like we saw kind of the perfect representation of what Kyle can bring to the table in Danville. What have you made of his performances as of late?
Well, he's got really good feet, and I looked at his stats elsewhere, and right now he's playing behind some guys, so he doesn't get all the offensive minutes. He doesn't get much power play, which affects their points. And then most of the season he was playing, with our third line, which wasn't scoring as much. And so typically, if you're a defenseman and you're playing with the first 2 lines, you're going to pick up some points just because they score a lot. So I thought he was making some really good breakout rushes and breakout plays that he didn't get points on, but led to goals. So it's nice to see. They all want to get their points, you know what I mean? But it's nice to see him start to get some. But I've been happy with the way he's been playing with the puck.
Last man on my list, and I wanted to talk about that fits this bill, is Hunter Alden. What he brings to a team is not the kind of stuff that steals headlines, but it's what you need as a coach, his tenaciousness, his forechecking. But an interesting moment, he had an opportunity to score his first goal against the Dashers on Sunday, and instead of going for the shot, he opts for a nifty feed to Picard instead, who shot and scored. And this was in a series, like, as you mentioned, maybe we didn't see the extra pass enough. Is he the type of player you like to have as a coach when not everyone on the team can be scoring all the time?
Well, you call those guys glue guys. You know exactly what you get from him every game, and he's got a really good attitude. He works hard. He finishes. He's a physical player. He hits. He made 2 plays like that. He made one. He also made one to Reller that was just an empty net. He probably could have even taken it to the net himself, but he gave Reller an open net after he made a nifty move. And he scored a lot in his career. Scored a lot in junior, and so I'm not surprised to see him make more offensive plays because he's got real good offensive ability and instincts.
I wanted to get a general sense of the health of the team and get some personnel updates. We didn't see Joe Colatarsi on Sunday. What kept him out of the game?
Yeah, I mean, he's just had a minor injury. It's nothing that I want to say on, but it was a situation where I wanted to get everybody that, you go on a long road trip and Dion hadn't played and I wanted to get him in the lineup. So I was just looking for somebody that maybe wasn't 100%, and he's back and ready to go tonight.
You mentioned Dion. It looked like we saw him as a blue liner on Sunday, but I think fans were curious on how much his contract status has been pinballing around. Is that just kind of the nature of the league rules that he finds himself on the team, then cut, then on the team, and then cut?
Yeah, we're only allowed to have so many players. So unfortunately, that when they put restrictions in, they put restrictions typically in leagues, to help the teams that aren't selling as many tickets. And so we're not allowed to carry a lot of players. So sometimes you end up with guys that can clear waivers but stay. And he's got a college degree and his family's got a farm. So he's able to play a little bit and not, count on having to get, like most people get out of college, you got to get a paycheck. So he's kind of in a good position where, he's able to stay and help out, and he actually feels a pretty big role, even though he's, like I said, he's another one of those glue guys that kind of you don't get all the accolades, but like he's in tremendous shape. He works really hard in practice, and he's got a great attitude. So even if he might not be playing a lot, when he gets out there, he does a great job. And in the game that he played at home, like I'm trying to remember who it was against. We had that Sunday game, and he did a really good job. I think that might have been against Columbus. Had a really good weekend, and anyway, so he's a good depth guy, and you need those guys to win.
Fans are also curious about Jimmy Lodge. We haven't seen him since February 1st. Any update on Jimmy?
Well, so Jimmy was on a PTO because our point system, they have a point system as kind of a salary cap. It's something that polices the salary cap, and it doesn't allow you to sign too many players that played at a higher level. So he counts really high in the point system because he played in the American League, higher than anybody on our team. So we can't fit him in. We can't have him on a roster if he's not on a PTO. To be on a PTO and not be on count against the cap, you have to be on consecutive PTOs, and you can only be on 3. So our deal was for him to come in and play 8 games and see if there was an opportunity in the ECHL. And so some other things behind the scenes kept us from being able to do 3 consecutive ones. But I think he's going to sign with another team that has a room on the point system to allow him to play. So he's just going to ask for his free agency in the summertime, and in case we change the point system. The point system has some good things and some bad things that we're hoping to see get changed. So we'll see what happens with Jimmy in the future.
Well, Coach, going into tonight, here come the River Dragons once again, and they have won 4 of their last 6. But those 2 losses are against our team. It's been a closely contested season series with us having won 5 of the 9 games. We've played them more than any other team this season. Do you feel like you and the other boys have been able to figure them out more and more as time has gone on?
Well, that figuring out works both ways. You know what I mean? You start to have less secrets when you play a team a lot, and they know exactly the way we play, and we know exactly the way they play. So, they have that one line that if you give them power plays and you give them opportunities, that line, with McDonald is going to make plays. They had a big blow to them last time we played here. Kyle Moore hurt his knee, and I heard he's out for the season. So those are tough when you lose your top guys. So we'll see what they're doing different tonight. I've already looked at some video, but we know the way they play, and we know the things that we want to do against them, and we just got to make sure that we get ready and we're on point and doing what we want to do.
Then after that, you go to Blue Ridge to play against the Bobcats, a game Friday and Saturday in Whitfield, Virginia, and then you turn around and play them again the next night, Sunday night in Akins Ford Arena. Obviously, they have to do pretty much the same travel, but with that being said, are you concerned at all about that quick turnaround from Saturday to Sunday?
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing is we have a good skating team. So, it hurts us a little bit in that we're playing tonight and they're not. So we have 4 and 5, they have 3 and 3. But it's better for us because they'll bust in the day of the game, and we'll get back in. It's a 5-hour trip. So let's just say we get on the road by 11 o'clock. Our guys will be back and sleeping in their beds at 5 o'clock. And we'll have a much better day to get ready for the game than they will.
Coach, tonight is Western night at Akins Ford Arena. I wanted to ask you, Coach, I've been on the bus and you and the boys often bring on a speaker to listen to music on the trip, and you're a real country music fan. I just wanted to see if you could tell us who some of your favorite country music artists are.
Oh, geez, there's so many of them. I like Aldine. I like a lot of the new guys and the old ones, and I really mix it up. I mean, I got Billy Joe Royal on mine, and I don't know, he might be 80 years old now, 70 years old. So I got a pretty eclectic group of, and I'm lucky because my daughter listens to country, and so does my wife. So my daughter will send me stuff, but we had a little bonfire pit here where we're staying, so we get out there every once in a while too. So yeah. I could wear my cowboy hat. I got a few of them here. I got actually 3 of them here. I lived in Texas for 12 years, so I'll probably be sporting a pair of cowboy boots tonight. I don't know how cowboy I'll go, but probably not to the extent that they had Western night at their rink and their coach had a cowboy hat on the whole game. I'm not sure I'll go that far, but I gave him credit for playing the part of the bench.
Coach, something else that just came to mind is the team has shown some grit since Justin Portillo left. You still have those kinds of guys with Michael Greco is the first guy who comes to mind in our lineup. But in terms of guys who can answer the bell, how have you liked the grittiness of your team as of late since Portillo?
I'll be honest with you. So there's some games that I push our guys to be more physical than others. And the reason I do that, it's a 58 games. And so injuries factor into things, and I wasn't really interested in going up this last weekend and entertaining their crowd. 3-3, we had a long day of travel. It ended up being like 12 hours, on the bus. We had to stop twice to eat. So, I didn't think we played a real physical games up there on the weekend. But I'll be honest, like I said, I didn't push the guys to play that way. I'll be back on point with that tonight. I think it really pays off against teams that are in your, that you play a lot, that are certainly in your division. And so tonight I'll expect us to be much more physical than we were maybe last weekend.
Well, Coach,
we got a lot of guys, we get a lot of guys that, not necessarily fight, but they play hard and they finish their checks. And Orca's another, he's one of those guys that he hits really hard, and he only weighs about 185 pounds, maybe 180. And, but he finishes his checks hard. And, the good thing is we've got, Phil's like that. We got more and more guys contributing right through the lineup. But it does pay off when your top 2 veteran lines, can play that style against the other team's top line. So whoever gets out against McDonald in that line, we know that they're going to be finishing checks, whether it's Phil or whether it's because I usually try to split it up a little bit. Between Phil and Milan.
Fans can also check out our new interview with Orca Weisblatt on the Athens Rock Lobster YouTube page. Coach, thank you for taking the time. Looking forward to a week of wins, my friend.
All right, we'll catch up later.